We're gonna be doing parking brake shoes on a 2003 Silverado 1500. The first thing you have to take off is gonna be the caliper to be able to remove the rotor and get to the shoes. Alright, so the bolts you're gonna have to take off for the caliper is gonna be the bracket bolts first, the two big ones right there. They're gonna be, what size are they?
18.
Size 18 millimeters. You are gonna need a little bit of a breaker bar because they are a little good tightened on there. And
Old man noises.
getting old already. Once these two bolts are removed, the caliper will be loose. So you want to be ready and grab it because it's kind of heavy.
Well, we'll go all the way back in, baby.
The mechanic struggles.
The actual struggles that they censor out.
After removing those two size 18 millimeter bolts, we're gonna go ahead and move it to the side, and now you should have access to remove your rotor. We like to put a little bungee cord to be able to hold it, just in case it does fall off, doesn't hit the ground.
Nah, it's not gonna pull the hose off.
So it doesn't pull the
Stretch.
brake hoses. You just want to go ahead and remove the rotor.
Dusty, crusty.
Dusty, musty. Alright, and then now you got to your
Beat that.
parking brake shoes.
Flattened out. But compared to the new one,
Pretty flat. Worn out. That's a new one. They got that meat on there.
look that. I'll get that 8 millimeter. Still organized.
Alright, so there's gonna be a little bracket inside there. We're gonna be removing that bolt right there. It's an 8 millimeters. Go ahead and remove the bracket.
Pull this bitch right out. Just push it down.
A little smack.
This part.
Now you got the puzzle here. The puzzle. So what you want to do is you want to try getting one side on the out, and then this one right here, and you're gonna start rotating it.
No se puede, fool.
This is gonna take a few tries. But once you do get the method down, it is pretty easy to take off. It shouldn't be too much force to remove the old parking brake shoe.
Peace out. Orange isn't stuck. Where's that little nipple at? Oops.
What are those called?
No, I think adjusting. It's for adjustment. The star wheel. Star wheel. Gotta clean it up and grease it up.
As you want to make sure they're really nice and clean. Get all the little dust out of it. Clean up the grease, the grime.
Make sure
Years of
make-
neglect.
Make sure your gloves fit.
Alright, and then the last step, after you go ahead and clean them up, you're going to go ahead and give it a little bit of grease. The grease we are using is just normal brake and caliper grease. Go ahead and give it a good coat of grease. A little nipple, little rod, whatever you want to call it. We do recommend using gloves since you're working with grease. It gets a little dirty, a little greasy.
Greasy job.
Go ahead and install it back in. Go ahead and push it in. And the other side. Same thing, just go ahead and push it in. And those are back on. Now the next thing you want to do is, what do you want to do next?
You gotta install the brake shoe.
Next thing is installing the new brake shoe, which also has a little method of installing.
So
Wipe off the excess grease.
But you gotta put grease.
Alright, now the method you want to go ahead and put the new one on is you're going to enter through the side and go ahead and rotate it just like how you removed the old one. And look, you want to go ahead and install it like this. Go ahead, grab it, install it like this sideways, and then it should go right on. Maybe a tiny little bit of force, but not too much. And there you are.
Maybe I should be holding the camera, don't
And you want to go ahead, and this part is a little difficult since there's like a good amount of resistance to go ahead and put it back onto the pins. It is a little bit easier if you go ahead and you use a pry bar. You put one side on, and then the other side you go ahead and try prying it off. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Now we got the pry bar on there. I just try prying it onto the pin.
Where the bleep? Gotta use the old hardware because I lost the new one.
And when you do get a new parking brake shoe, it does come with new hardware. You always want to go ahead and install new hardware. We lost the hardware on one side, so we are going to be reusing it. You want to go ahead and make sure you clean up the hardware.
Yeah, clean it up. It wasn't even that dirty.
Just go ahead and use a wire brush on this. And reinstall.
Oops, wrong way.
can go ahead and put the bolt back on. There you are. Hardware back in. Go ahead and tighten it.
Just snug it on there, unless you have a hand like me that it's a torque wrench itself. The bone snaps and it's ready.
And when it starts getting a little tight, you want to go ahead and give it a tiny little bit more, and then it should be ready. This bolt isn't too tight on there, but you do want to go ahead and give it a little snug on it. Alright, next step, you're going to go ahead and we're going to start adjusting it. Normally this parking brake does need adjustment. The way to adjust it is you're going to be throwing on the rotor. You always want a little bit of drag on it, so you are going to hear a little bit of grinding noise.
Not grinding.
Not grinding, but
Like rubbing?
like a rubbing noise from right there. But not too much.
Not too much, not too little. Does it make sense? No. Never makes sense. You just gotta send it sometimes.
Go ahead and clean it up if you are reusing your rotors.
This thing's dirty. Rusty ass.
You're gonna go ahead, slide it back on.
Too much. Perfect. Of course, the video, whenever somebody's trying to show you, they just have it perfect. There's no adjustment needed. I just gotta skip this part.
So you always want to, for these parking brake shoes, you want to hear like a little bit of drag on it from the parking brake to the rotor.
I guess it could get a little tighter.
And then to tighten it, all you're gonna have to do is, there is a tool, but you can also use a pry bar. The same pry bar we used. You're gonna go ahead, put it up to the adjustment gear and then start turning it. You're gonna turn it clockwise to open it, and then counterclockwise to loosen it. Then go ahead, reinstall the rotor. You want to feel a little bit of resistance when you put on the rotor, not too much. Go ahead, give it a little spin.
What's the noise?
Make sure it's not your wheel hub making the noise.
I can feel like a little bit of drag right here. I feel like it's hard right here. Look, put the camera right here. You see the lip of the brake. Still a little loose. No drag. Only when I put it in all the way, I don't know how to fuck it.
The rotor feels a little too easy to put on, to slide on, then do want to go ahead and give it a little bit more.
Easy on this side. It's this way. I feel like it's going in.
Slide it back.
See that resistance? I think it's too much. Check it, spin. It's kind of hard. Hard as fuck. Cut the video.
Alright, so here's a good example when you over open the parking shoe. It'll become a little bit more difficult to put the rotor on. It takes more force. This means that you would have to go ahead and loosen it. This is not how you want it. The rotor should be still easy to throw on, but just have a little bit of drag when you turn it. So go ahead and loosen it.
See how we loosen it down here. Maybe we could do it from the P. Or look at this one. It's this way. Don't get a cramp.
Go ahead and retry it. This is a tedious job. We're gonna have to be removing and installing the rotor. It's a little time consuming.
Fucking annoying. Still too tight. Told you I had it perfect the first time. I just had to show and tell. Shitty position.
We're gonna be turning this bolt right here. Keep the teeth on it.
Sleep down. One click. 2, 3, 4. Alright, let's try it.
Whew. And then after you're adjusting it, go ahead and blow the rotor back on. See how it feels.
Can't really see. Trying to get your glove stuck over here.
You should get the right size gloves.
Shit's getting real. Alright, look, that's too much. It's too loose, I mean.
Alright, since we did 4 clicks, we're gonna go ahead and do 2 back or 1 back. Try it again.
What's going on? Alright, again. There's a little bit of drag right here.
Go ahead and listen to the noise.
There's a lock up right there. Yeah, you can hear it. So, we'll have to leave it like this. We'll hope we don't overheat our brakes.
Alright, you could also go ahead, push the e-brake in and test it out. The e-brake, if your parking shoes wear out, it should be like a little loose. Installing a new one just should give it a little bit more resistance when you push into the parking brake. With the parking brake fully down, it should go ahead and be difficult to spin. Just doing all. And now with the parking brake off, you should go ahead and spin freely still. There you are. Then you're gonna go ahead and reinstall your brake caliper. First, you want to go ahead and you want to clean up your bracket bolts for the caliper. They have a little bit of thread lock on it. You want to go ahead and clean that off. You can do it with a wire brush, or you can do it with a drill brush. Alright, when you reinstall your caliper, you want to go ahead and add some thread locks, medium pole, not the red one. You're gonna have a good time taking them off. Alright, this is gonna be for the caliper bracket. That's the only ones you're going to be adding thread lock to. And these ones are torqued down to 148 foot-pounds. Go ahead, hand thread them first.
Thread lock. Probably overdid it.
Thread lock on both of them. Go ahead and hand thread it. If you have a little 3/8 electric ratchet, you go ahead and snug them in.
That's snug.
Snug them in and then go ahead and torque them to 148 foot-pounds. Alright, size 18, 148 foot-pounds.
Oops.
There's one. And then next would be the caliper. The guide pin bolts are torqued down to 31 foot-pounds. Here's these though. Make sure you clean the parts nice and clean if you are going to be reusing them. We did clean the brackets and then greased them back up off camera. Nice and greased up. And then the guide pin bolts also, we did clean them off camera and greased them back up and then throw them back in. Oh shit. And then grease up the tips of the brake pads. You don't want to get grease on the brake pad itself where the padding material is, the braking material. Go ahead and reinstall them.
Dude, it's only too easy to install.
There's one. You want to make sure you, if you are going to be reusing your brake pad, you want to make sure you put the one that was on the back side on the back side and the one that was on the front side on the front side so that your brake pads don't wear out unevenly. They don't squeak. Go ahead and grease the tips up. Where it's going to be making contact with the bracket. And throw it back in. First, you want to go ahead and grease up the back of the pads just in case.
Because I was taught this.
Just to make sure life a little easier when you come and change your pads. There you are. And go ahead and grab your caliper.
Another bracket.
Alright, go ahead and grab your caliper, and inside the caliper is also another bracket inside. You want to make sure you clean that, take it out, clean it, put it back in, and then grease it up. Go ahead and just push it on. If you are replacing your brakes, you want to go ahead and you want to push in the piston. Since we did not replace the brakes and we're just reusing them, it should just go straight on.
Should. Bullets.
Just like that, just pushing it on. Make sure the bolts, the hose alignment to the bolts. If they don't align, you go ahead and just make a little bit of adjustment. Go ahead, if you torque that one down, tighten it, loosen it. And then start threading it in. You want to hand thread it first before you use a impact or a ratchet on it. Your size 13s with the electric ratchet, you go ahead and snug it on. And snug it on. And you're going to torque them down to 31 foot-pounds. There's one. And there's two. Alright. That's pretty much it. It should be the same thing on the other side, on the driver's side. This is the passenger side. The only difference on the driver's side is that the little adjustment pin for the parking shoe is on the top instead of the bottom, but the same process applies on the driver's side. After you're done with this, you're pretty much done with the job. Just throw the tire on and you're good.